Thank you, everyone. This is a great turnout. To everyone online, I don't know how to look at you, but I am acknowledging you, and to everyone in the room, thank you for joining today. So my name is Terry Higgins. I'm the Regional Market Manager for the Americas at the University of Otago, and what that means is I look after all of our undergraduate recruitment from the US, Canada, and I also look after all of our North American study abroad partnerships. So they keep me busy, and I spend a lot of time up here in North America. I'm an Otago alumni. There's a reason I continue to work for this university. It's a very, very special place. We're going to talk a little bit more about the wider experience today and drill down into some of the major opportunities as well, and make sure there's good time for Q&A at the end. So we're going to cover a bit of everything, but firstly, has anyone in the room or online been to New Zealand before, other than this gentleman? Yes, Saroj, yes.
I wish.
Don't know if there's any hands up online, but I'm going to open that chat just so I can see it. Cool. Great. Okay, so New Zealand and the city of Dunedin. So the whole of Aotearoa, New Zealand. So Aotearoa is our Indigenous name. You'll hear it often coupled with New Zealand because our Indigenous language is super important down in New Zealand. We've only got 5 million people in the whole country. 2 million of those are up in the city of Auckland, which we'll look at soon. We do have 3 official languages. I wouldn't say we're a bilingual nation, but the language is everywhere. Right from the minute you step on an Air New Zealand flight, you'll encounter our beautiful Te Reo Māori Indigenous language. And then on the right-hand side of my screen, these are some rankings that I'm super proud of, and a reason I've chosen to stay in New Zealand and raise my family. There's lots of different reasons this is a great opportunity, but the country itself, I think, is a pretty great reason. And we take the kind of care of international students in our country extremely seriously. All guests really will be welcomed with our principles of manaakitanga, which is really all about hospitality, generosity, kindness, and support. So there are only 8 universities in New Zealand. There's a lot of other polytechnic colleges, which are a little bit more like the community college system here in New Zealand. All 8 of the universities in New Zealand are in the top 2% of the world for the QS rankings. We're the #1 English-speaking country in the world for preparing students for the future. Second best in the world for producing graduates with problem-solving skills, hands-on skills, and we are very much a collection of research universities. So there's a lot of great research and innovation coming out of our tiny little country. And truly, it doesn't get much further south than this. So the city of Dunedin is nestled on the southeast coast of the South Island of New Zealand. We are the southernmost English-speaking university in the world. But don't let that proximity to the tundras of Antarctica put you off. You're going to learn more about our climate, but it is not all ice and cold, trust me. And so I'm going to show this quick little video. Hopefully we've got some sound coming through, just to set the scene for our conversation today. Maybe I don't know if that's going to work, but just try that one time. And if not, it's not.
Yeah, and then maybe the online, can they hear it?
Because my sound's down, I'm not sure. But that's okay. That's okay. It's just a soundtrack. So if I was to narrate this, I would say, oh, there's our campus. And there's our beautiful city.
Oh, it's just
It's a
music,
short,
right?
yeah, it'll
Okay.
be over soon. It's just to set the scene of our little city at the bottom of the world. I'll skip that along. Okay, so the city of Dunedin, we're only 130,000 people, 25,000 of those are students between the university and the neighbouring Polytech. People love living here. We have a really high quality of living, a high concentration of very educated folks. And something that is important to a lot of students is we have a very low cost of living compared to some other large cities in the world, and certainly compared to the city of Auckland in New Zealand. We're known as being a student city, but there's a lot more going on. There's a great sporting scene. It's a cultural hub. It's home to one of New Zealand's 2 big fashion weeks. And of course, the nature. We do draw a lot of students who are really looking to make the most of that outdoor experience. And actually from San Francisco, it's not too hard to get to us. You've got, I think, a 12-hour, 50-minute flight from SFO direct to Auckland. We call that a medium flight when you live in New Zealand, and then it's under 2 hours down to the city of Dunedin. And I promise none of this is photoshopped. I promise you we have 4 seasons. They're just the reverse of yours. So we have a beautiful spring, a hot, dry summer, a beautiful autumn or fall, and we do get some snow, but it's largely on the ski mountains, which are a couple of hours from the centre of our campus. So 4 seasons despite that very southern location. Now, the university is housed in central city there, and this is going to paint a picture of really STEM majors in the room. And we're thinking about kind of the environment that we're living in, but also that we're teaching in. So the university is in the north end of the city. You've got the Otago Harbour in the foreground, home to New Zealand Marine Studies Centre, among other great university centres. And we've got 24 beaches flanking us in the south and some small mountains here in the north. So not unlike this environment that you've got here in this part of California. So it's a very easy place to live. You do not need a car. You can walk the city, the campus, the downtown very easily. Where you will need a car is if you want to make the most of the New Zealand of it all, the Lord of the Rings of it all, depending on when you were born. But yes, that's me. That's about 2.5 hours from the campus. It's a lot of students do choose us, whether it's for a semester or a full degree, for what they can do with their weekends and really making the most of the country that they're in. Yes, okay. So why the University of Otago? So as I said, there's 8 universities in New Zealand. Otago is the original, the first university founded in 1869. Rankings are important to some people if they're important to you. Some that might be interesting is we're #1 in New Zealand for educational performance, for international student experience. We're the 10th globally for sustainable education, 5th most beautiful campus in the world, if the Times Higher Education student voice is to be trusted, and 5-star QS quality for global universities. And we have a lot of international students coming from a lot of different places. So this, I think, is a snapshot of 2025. You can see the USA number is high. A lot of those are coming for that single semester or full year study abroad experience, with growing numbers like yourself either transferring into bachelor's degrees or coming to us straight from high school for bachelor's degrees, or some grad programs as well. So you can see a good number there from China, South Asia, Southeast Asia, lots of different countries represented. This is just some of the larger international student cohorts that we see. So how can you join that group? Well, we'll get to that soon. So something I like about Otago is not only is our institution well ranked, but we've got a variety of different departments across our 4 divisions doing some really great things. And what I like about this slide is the breadth of subjects doing well in those top 50, top 100 rankings, you know, sport and exercise science, but also dentistry, but also history, anthropology, law, etc. Some things you might not know about our university is we are home to New Zealand's oldest medical school, New Zealand's only dentistry school, New Zealand's National Centre of Marine Science, only standalone botany department in the country. So a lot of key research and teaching hubs at our university. And 86% of students come from outside of Dunedin. So that's including our domestic students, choose to come to Otago despite the travel they might have to do, because it is very much a destination university. And everything you'd expect in a comprehensive university in terms of student experience as well. So there are a lot of different study options, and there are a couple of different mechanisms through which a student at SMCCCD, I always never know if it's 2 C's or 3 C's, can transfer. So this is a very new partnership, and as it stands, we have an agreement for a direct transfer from the Associate of Arts into the Bachelor of Arts, and we'll talk in detail about some of those majors. There are plans to extend that formal partnership into STEM subjects and business subjects, but for now, our formal partnership is in the humanities. That being said, anybody can apply to transfer to the University of Otago. What the partnership does, and feel free team to jump in if you have any comments, is just makes that a far more easier, seamless process for a student. So I'm going to talk a little bit more today about humanities because that's our existing agreement, but we're also going to talk about the other divisions that we have, science, business, because I know a lot of students from these colleges are enrolled in those associates degrees. Anything the team would like to add to caveat that before I get started?
Sounds good.
Cool, awesome.
Thanks for the intro.
Yeah. So at Otago, we've got 4 main academic divisions. We've got the health sciences, as I said, within that, things like our medical school, our dental school, a school of pharmacy, a school of physiotherapy. Those are not available for transfer. They function a little bit differently, but there's Bachelor of Health Science and a lot of other great majors within that division as well. We've got our sciences division, which also has software engineering, a new software engineering program living inside it. We've got the University of Otago School of Business and the Humanities and Social Sciences division. And it's just interesting to know we also have a pathway in English language school. A lot of students coming from Japan, for example, into our English language school and then transferring into a bachelor's degree. So maybe for any students in the room or on the line, I'd love to know what you're currently enrolled in here at these colleges. Maybe we could start. That's right.
Yeah, I'm an art history major in both degrees. I'm also going into psychology potentially.
Cool.
And that's going to be
Great.
harder.
Yeah. We've got a business major on the line. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? Yeah.
Aviation and astrophysics.
Great. Great.
For me, biology for cell.
I was just interested in the botany program.
Botany?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I have a question. Does the university have any tracks for astronomy or astrophysics?
No, not for astronomy or astrophysics. That would be, if you were really, really set on New Zealand, you would be looking at the University of Canterbury for astronomy. They're about 3 hours north of us in the South Island. Yeah, but a lot of what I share today will be very similar contextually to what you could expect from that university.
Me.
Yeah, did either of you want to share?
Well, I'm a biology major and I'm hoping to go into veterinary.
Cool.
And I have a question. Do you guys have anything related to animal science or veterinary?
So the large veterinarian school in New Zealand is Massey University. It's in the North Island, and that's very popular for the North American students. And same thing really, a lot of the wider context of what I'll share today will be very similar, but the veterinarian science, the thing is when there's only 8 universities we share around, we get the dentistry, they've got the veterinarian science. maybe University of Auckland, but Massey University is the main campus there. And again, you know, just because we have a partnership together doesn't mean that any student couldn't apply to have their credit assessed for transfer. Partnerships are certainly the easier way to do that, but it doesn't close other options.
Question around partnerships. So let's say I transfer from here to your university, and then I want to transfer from your university to one of the other 7. Is that transfer easy, or how does that work?
It's very program specific. So certain things like the medicine degree, for example, require a student take a very prescribed set of courses at Otago. And so that's something that would be a little more difficult. If someone takes psychology, thought, oh, I've fallen in love with someone in Auckland, because it would have to be a person to go to Auckland. Yes, it would be a straightforward transfer in terms of kind of credit and completion of the degree. Because our eight universities are structured in the same way, we're all public, New Zealand Standard of Public Education. Yes, that would be straightforward, but program specific would be the caveat. We've got geography on the line. Great. We've got lots of good questions coming in. Legal studies. Apologies if I miss these chats. Psychology. Yes, we're going to touch on these things, and I'll make sure I address the specific questions. Okay, so we've got a good mix of folks on the line. We won't spend too much time here, but just worth knowing the Health Sciences Division, in addition to those professional programs like dentistry, medicine, etc., we do have the only standalone genetics department in New Zealand, microbiology, neuroscience, biochemistry, etc. So I don't think there was any one health related field here today or on the line. So we'll skip over that one. The sciences, this is where we see, if I had to hazard a guess, this is where we see, I would say 80% of our study abroad, so semester long study abroad students gravitating towards, because our location in the world makes us prime for the natural and physical sciences. Sorry, I can see there's a lot of chat happening. I don't know. I want to make sure I don't or anyone, but it's good. It's good we've got action. So in our sciences division, there's a lot happening, and it's interesting. You've kind of touched on a couple of the subjects we don't have, and that's usually what I lead with. What we don't have is astro, mechanical engineering, or veterinarian science. But you can see here a lot of the other typical science subjects you'd expect at a large university here. And we're going to talk about the structure of these bachelors, because most of what you're seeing on my screen, these are 3-year bachelor programs, not 4. So that becomes very interesting when we're thinking about, you know, especially for students coming from high school, looking for that kind of compressed education timeline. So within the Otago School of Business, we have, again, everything you might expect, but some highlights for us are our tourism department is hugely popular, our sustainable business, international business, and entrepreneurship. For anyone that's been to New Zealand, the University of Otago is about to open a new campus in Queenstown, which is, I would say, probably the tourism hub of the Southern Hemisphere. So that's very exciting. And we will be developing an agreement with your colleges into business as well. Okay, and the humanities, we've got a number of humanities folks on the line, but quickly, I just wanted to come back to botany. Have you got some awareness of our botany department?
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So botany at Otago, the environmental sciences are very cross-disciplinary. So our botany students work closely with zoology, marine, ecology, chemistry, biology, among others. So if you have any specific questions about that, we can feel free to ask them.
I think
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
this. What I'm interested in is more ethnobotany, so it's like combining anthropology and botany. So I was just wondering how
Yeah.
Irish would look here, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So anthropology is one of the majors you can transfer into through this partnership, and we'll talk about what a double across a double degree might look like, or with a double major. So yeah, great. Okay, so the humanities, again, when we say humanities in New Zealand, we're really thinking humanities and social sciences. We have a large number of most of our transfer students coming from the US into the University of Otago are coming into the humanities and social sciences. I think probably because it's a really easy transfer pathway, it's easy to guarantee students will be out in 4 semesters. Anthropology is really popular, criminology, sociology, psychology. It's worth knowing we do have a College of Education. Again, it's a little trickier to transfer into a College of Education where we're training New Zealand's teachers. We also have a law school. Law looks very different in New Zealand. Law starts at the undergraduate level. Social work, Indigenous studies, etc., etc. So, as I mentioned, bachelor's degrees in New Zealand are 3 years, not 4 years. We don't have the general education year like we tend to have in the university system in the US. And so a New Zealand education for a student coming out of high school is really a really great option for someone who knows exactly what they want to do, because you'll go straight into your major subject. For a student who isn't quite sure, perhaps it's not the best option if you want to make sure that you're out in that 3 years. A 4-year degree in New Zealand is likely going to be a combined degree. So for someone like yourself, you could do a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Science, so a BA, BSc in psychology and, anthropology and botany, for example. That could be a nice combination. And that you could be done within 4 years. Again, thinking if you came straight out of high school, 4 years. Transferring outside of an agreement, you could probably complete that in 3 years. The way we structure degrees in New Zealand is you have major subjects and minor subjects. And for someone entering into a bachelor's degree, you've got to have at least one major. So you could have a Bachelor of Arts in Anthropology, but you could supplement that with a minor. So just to borrow your example again, you could do a Bachelor of Science in Botany with a minor in Anthropology. Again, if you're looking to kind of compress your time. Let's take, for example, the Bachelor of Arts, because this is the current transfer pathway we have with your colleges. So the big thing to remember is that the academic year in New Zealand is the reverse of the academic year in North America. So our academic year runs February through November. So semester 1 is February through June, and semester 2 is July through November. Hard to get your head around, but once you do, it's easy. And so for a Bachelor of Arts, a student transferring could come into either our February semester or our July semester. Currently, the majors that we have agreed upon for students from San Mateo and the other colleges are here on the screen. These are the agreed upon subjects where we can guarantee a 2+2, meaning 2 years here and 2 years with us in New Zealand, based on your completion of Associate of Arts qualification. Now, that is not to say that we can't have conversations about transferring into other majors within the arts or other.
If anyone has questions, we'll keep them for the end. So I'd like Dr. Higgins to finish her presentation, and folks on the Zoom also have questions, so we're holding everyone's questions.
Thank you. So this is what's currently kind of on the straightforward agreement track, but we can definitely have conversations if we had students interested in other subjects. I think, for example, psychology was one. Now, psychology at Otago can be either as a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. So a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, while it's not on this list, I believe would be a straightforward pathway option. Depends what your outcome. If you wanted to do clinical eventually, you would probably need to go down a science track. Yeah, so some nuance in there. But these, if you are an arts student looking for a straightforward transfer track to the University of Otago, then this initial phase of the partnership was built for you. And as I mentioned earlier, combined degrees are very much a concept in New Zealand. That's when you're getting more to that 4-year time, so you can combine from across different divisions at the university. And I just think it's worth knowing that when you're an international student at the University of Otago, you can go on exchange, you can continue paying your Otago fees and go on exchange to another university in the world. So the University of Otago has exchanges with some top universities across the globe. The only caveat would be you could not exchange back to the US. But there's lots more of the world to see. So even if you're only with us for 4 semesters, you can keep paying your Otago fees and go out and have a semester in Japan or Finland or Sweden or, lots of different places. Okay, so the university academic model is quite different than here in the US. Well, depending on where you're going. It's very much that sort of British model of university, and what I mean by that is it requires a lot more sort of independence, which I think you're probably developing great skills for here at SMCCCD, but a lot of students that come from the US, particularly to us for a single semester, are really thrown off by the style of learning. So just so you're aware, each semester you'd take 4 courses, 3 or 4 courses as part of your major or your degree. And each course is going to have 2 lectures, which would be supplemented by smaller tutorial style classes where you really kind of dig deeper into the content that was given to you by your professor in your lectures. Then, because we're a research university, field work is hugely important to us across the divisions. So we like to get students out. I can't promise that an English student is going to be at a glacier, but it's a beautiful picture to symbolise field work opportunities that we have in New Zealand are very common, particularly in our STEM subjects, as are lab sessions. So you're doing a lot of classroom time, a lot of discussion time, but there's a lot of hands-on learning, even in our humanities subjects. Okay, money. This is important. So there's a few things when we think about going abroad as international students, you think, I can't possibly afford this. New Zealand's interesting because our dollar sucks. Our dollar is terrible. So when I come here to the US, everything costs me double. I can't look at the credit card statement. I can't look at my $30 sandwich. But what that means for you guys with US dollars is that you're doubling the value when you come to New Zealand. So we'll crunch some numbers soon, but or maybe I can find it here. So an undergraduate, a bachelor's degree in New Zealand is going to take a Bachelor of Arts, 3 years at maximum 25,000 US dollars per year. So 43,000 New Zealand dollars today is 25,000 US dollars. Now you can see why my sandwich costs $30. That's very interesting, and we're not used to thinking about things being somewhat affordable when we're thinking about studying internationally. So that's the first piece. The dollar, our dollar sucks, your dollar's strong. The second piece is it's 2 years or 3 years for a full bachelor's degree. So again, parents of high school students are thinking, hey, this is interesting. This is interesting. So it's not as out of reach as you might think. we guarantee anyone transferring through one of our agreements with San Mateo and the other colleges, 10,000 New Zealand dollars off that first year of tuition. So if we go back here, then that maximum 43,000 becomes a maximum 33,000 off that first year, which we're under 20 grand now. So this starts to become very interesting. So we guarantee that scholarship for students transferring through the agreement, which again, right now lives in the humanities, but is set to grow. And wait, there's more. The University of Otago is one of only 2 of the 8 universities in New Zealand that will let you bring your FAFSA with you. This is major, and this requires a heavy audit from our university every year, and we'll take it 1 semester at a time at the moment, because there's a lot happening in your education department. But currently, Otago has a FAFSA school code. So students can bring their financial aid loans, not scholarships, I believe, but their financial aid loans with them. So when you start to put all of those pieces together, that 3 years, that terrible New Zealand dollar, that little scholarship, and the financial aid piece, that suddenly becomes within reach, I think, for a lot of students. And I believe it's these components that are the reason why we are seeing a lot more students choosing New Zealand, transferring even without agreements right now, because I think they're able to see opportunities within reach with some of these things in place. And the living costs, I would say, I thought I had a living cost slide here, it must be coming up, but the city of Dunedin, certainly on the New Zealand scale, is considered extremely affordable. We're not going to spend too much time on how to apply because I want to leave good time for questions, and I don't think we're there yet. But again, this is my reminder plug again that the New Zealand academic year looks quite different. So if students are graduating in sort of April or May, students often ask me, do I rush in for a July start in semester 2, or do I take time and sort of get myself organised and come down for February? Both work. Obviously, a lot of that's in Immigration New Zealand's hands, but both are possible. As long as you have your final transcript from San Mateo and your graduating diploma, you can apply for a student visa, which we find by international visa standards are quite quick to process. I recommend a February start, arrive in the summer, everyone's orienting to the campus and the city, it's a vibe. Okay. Again, I don't think we're here yet, but we work very differently to the US college admissions system. We have a large application window. So if you were starting in a February or semester 1, applications open May the year before, and they don't close up until the end of the calendar year. So you've got a wide berth, and all we are going to look at, whether you're in the agreement or outside of the agreement, is your GPA. We don't look at essays, we don't look at personal statements, we don't look at test scores, we don't charge you to apply, we don't care about any of that, we just want to know your grades. And for you, we just want to know that you got your Associate of Arts here at this college. Okay, my last exciting piece before we open up to questions is we also will guarantee housing for a student transferring from these 3 colleges as part of our agreement. We won't put you in a dorm. There's no such thing as a roommate in New Zealand. It doesn't exist. Sharing a room is a very American concept. We will guarantee you your own room in one of these beautiful little villas dotted around our campus called uni flats. This is where we house those rowdy single semester study abroad and exchange students. Don't worry, we won't put you with them. We'll put you with like-minded individuals. So if you're looking for female only, if you prefer to live in a quiet part of campus, if you're looking for alcohol-free, remembering we have an 18-year-old drinking age in New Zealand, if you would like to live with other members of the rainbow community, tell us. We will match you up with like-minded individuals and make sure that you are off to a really good start. And we'll have it all furnished and waiting for you. All you need is a towel. And I don't know why we don't provide towels, but we don't. So bring one. Okay, and just a little bit of living costs. Okay, so how much do you need to live comfortably in Dunedin for 40 weeks of an academic year, including your housing? $14,500 US. Feel like that's a week in a hotel for me here, sometimes, but very affordable. So thinking about housing, your food, personal costs and entertainment. If you wanted to go skiing every weekend, for sure, it might look a little bit higher than that, but the New Zealand visa will require you to have, I believe, 25,000 New Zealand dollars proof of funds for a year of a student visa. So a little bit more than this because they want to see you can afford your ticket home if you need it. But again, I hope this is helping build a picture of what finishing your degree or studying in New Zealand might look like. And wait, there's more. We let you work off campus. So if you're on a New Zealand student visa, we let you work part-time during your studies, full-time during your semester breaks. And if you complete, so say you do 2 years with us, you graduate with a bachelor's degree, we'll let you stay in the country for 3 more years as a bachelor's graduate, which is enough time to decide if you'd like to head home after that, stay longer, and make a more permanent base in New Zealand. Cool. Very quickly, I mean, you guys are on a beautiful campus here as well with a beautiful view. We have everything you'd expect in terms of support services. So international students receive all the supports that a local domestic student would, and some. There's amazing clubs and societies to join, free breakfast every day if you'd like that. Beautiful academic libraries and spaces, specialised and unspecialised. Also, every international, just as I say it, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is good. It's a good deal. Every international student that comes to New Zealand for university, everybody is given a insurance policy called Student Safe. So your visits to the doctor will be free, emergency care will be free, ambulance will be free, physio will be free. It will all be covered for 250 New Zealand dollars a year. So about, I don't know, not much. So you'll be well taken care of while you're here. Okay, what else? I think we should probably open up for questions because I want to make sure, and there's a lot to say, we can chat. And I can send these slides after the fact. And if you don't believe me, we have a great Instagram page where our students do a lot of their own content and share what they're doing in their life at the University of Otago. So with that, and about 12 minutes till the top of the hour, I wanted to make sure we had great time for your questions. Maybe if the team staff in the room have questions. We've got a lot of questions online. How do we want to do this, Dave?
I think we can take the Zoom questions first.
Okay.
Because they had been typing them.
Are you good to read them, or do you want Zed to come and filter those? Zed, do you want to moderate a little bit? Maybe you could read them out.
You have more, please.
No, I do not have more of those, but I will get some more to the college for sure. I try not to travel with too much paper. But there is a digital version of that online.
And I'll just say for all of you here, if you notice that there's not much on the website yet, we are in the process and we will have a fully built out website in the coming weeks. So for everyone that registered today, we will send you an email saying all the details are now online, all the digital resources. We will have similar to Ren's flyers and things. So all of that is coming.
Okay, this question is from Nikki. Do our AA major need to match our transfer to Otago?
That's a great question. There are some slightly differences in some of the naming conventions, but it would be working with I guess you like the transfer team would be to make sure it's connected?
So we would make sure the student uploads all their
Yeah.
transcripts.
Yeah.
So you would be able to see all the classes.
Yeah, so I think, do you know what major that student is in? I've got the student who asked that question. Nikki, what is the associate's degree, Nikki? Then I can tell exactly. Sociology. So you'd be coming straight into a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology. And you could combine that with anthropology or criminology, but for enrollment purposes, you'd be enrolling into a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology.
Let's go to the next question. Geography is considered an associate in arts at Skyline College. Would it count for the direct transfer?
Yes, Associate of Arts for transfer in geography. Yeah, that's on our list.
And then does the partnership cover the psychology major?
Great question. So it doesn't look like currently we have that formally in the agreement, but because psychology can be a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science at Otago, I think that's probably, we're going to handle it case by case. So it would be really dependent on career outcomes. If you were interested in a Bachelor of Arts, then that is going to be a lot easier for us to transfer your credit than a Bachelor of Science if you've got clinical goals in the future. So we might need to do some individual advising on that one, but certainly possible.
Okay, and then we have a hand up, Carlos. He's one of our transfer counselors.
Hi, Carlos.
Hello, thanks for allowing me to ask this question. I'm just curious, if your bachelor degree programs are 3 years in length, so if one of our students transfers into a humanities major, will it take them 1 more year to complete their degree, or?
Two plus two. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, and that's, yeah, so basically a confident two. Yeah. for
Okay,
Bachelor of
and
Arts.
also, can someone begin applying this semester, for example, in April to
Yes,
semester
someone could apply now for semester 2, 26, so a July 2026 start. If someone wanted to start in February 27, they could apply from May 1st.
Thank you.
Right, and then we have another question. How do I get started as someone who has about 1.5 years left of my AA? Also, is the degree from University of Otago applicable in the US?
Great question. So for someone that had 1.5 years left of their associates, certainly from a life organising standpoint and thinking about career goals, it's a good time to start planning, but you wouldn't physically be able to apply until probably that semester you're getting ready to complete. So we could issue like a conditional offer, and then once you had graduated with your associate's degree, we would give you the full offer of place that you need for your student visa. So yes and no. Thinking, yes, but physically applying a little closer. Great question, yes. So a 3-year bachelor to the world, it looks the same as a 4-year bachelor from the US. I have a lot of students who have done undergrad with us and have gone on to law school back in the US, or professional health programs or other grad programs, or just into the workforce. My personal opinion is if you have a combination of a US qualification and a New Zealand qualification on your transcript, you're unstoppable, because there's so much more said there than just what's on your transcripts. But from an academic perspective, yes, a bachelor's degree in New Zealand and a bachelor's degree in the US in the global market are considered the same bachelor's degree.
And I'll just put a plug in here for that student who said they were, had 1.5 years to go. Now is a great time to go into the study abroad office, meet with this program coordinator there, talk about your goals, make sure your classes align. Planning early is never a bad idea, starting to think about financially how that's gonna work, what your timeline looks like, what semester makes sense to start. Even with our short-term study abroad, students are often planning a year in advance. Going abroad, is a big commitment. It can be something you do last minute. I was one of those, but it can also be something you plan and strategize for a long time. So it's absolutely something that I think, again, we have, one of our student ambassadors here, we have staff, talk to people, get ideas, think about how that fits for you.
Can you talk about, I saw your tuition fee and then I saw the additional cost for living. So does tuition fee also include housing or housing cost is separate?
Tuition fee is just straight university fees for study. So kind of the big fee components for a New Zealand education would be, that tuition fee, which is for your study, and that housing fee or accommodation fee. Then, of course, you've got your living cost requirements from an immigration standpoint. They'll look at that and consider what you've paid for your housing. So housing is separate from the tuition fee that you saw. Yeah.
Because you said for immigration visa purposes, you need to show
I believe it's 25,000 New Zealand.
25 New Zealand dollars. But I'm looking at your tuition, I'm looking at your housing, it's so much more. But you said it's only for a year.
That's proof you can live in New Zealand rather than fund your studies. So the immigration New Zealand requirement is, like most countries, is more saying, can you go home if we need you to, and can you afford to live here if you are not working? So that's the student visa, just wants to make sure a student can survive and have a good, healthy life if they're not working.
And if I remember correctly, when we were talking, you said that an international student can work off campus.
Correct.
Up to 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
So make some money like that.
Yeah. Yes. And while we don't recommend that in the first semester with us, find your groove, get settled. It's very common, and because we're a student city, the community loves students, doesn't discriminate a student visa in terms of hiring. It's very much part of the culture in Dunedin to have student workers off campus.
So we have 3 more questions in the Zoom. Is this program available for students with children?
Great question. So, of course, anyone that meets the qualifications can study in New Zealand. There are nuances as it pertains to immigration, which I'm technically not allowed to advise on. But the university supports students with families. We've got family housing and advisors in our team. So if someone with a family was seriously considering this opportunity, we'd connect you up with the team to support how to make that work with the family.
How hard is it to get a part-time job with so many students in the city?
That's a
Great question. Depends, there's a lot of opportunities to work at the cashier of a supermarket, make coffee, things like that. Where it might get a little bit more limited is if you're looking for research roles, whether on the campus or, departmental roles. To be honest, I think there'll be more jobs out in the community than there would be roles connected to your qualification on campus. I'm not worried about that. And you can always take the job off a single semester study abroad student when they go home. Yeah, that's a good question.
And is there a certain way we need to apply for our passports?
Passport, no. Visa, yes. If and when you get to that point, you'd be applying for a New Zealand student visa, but there'd be people to support you through that process when you get there. But there is a visa specifically for a fee-paying student in New Zealand. Passport, I cannot advise on.
The passport, you'd use the process we have here in the States. So you'd apply through the US Post Office or any passport acceptance facilities.
Just to add to that, get your passport early.
Yeah, that would be the thing to
My
start.
suggestion, if you are thinking about going abroad for any program, a passport is valid for 10 years, go ahead and start that process. It usually only takes a few weeks, but it's always a good idea just to get it done.
Yeah, they're saying that the processing time for New Zealand student visa is anywhere between 3 to 8 weeks,
And we're in the peak now,
right? So
because we're getting
plan ahead.
all the last visas out for a February start, so school starts in 2 weeks in New Zealand. So that we're coming off our peak. I've seen US student visas process in 10 days to 2 weeks outside of the peak periods. And it's all electronic. You don't have to send your passport anywhere.
And for students from other nationalities that are not US students, but students studying in the US, this partnership is open to international students.
Yeah,
Correct?
definitely.
And they can apply for their visas all electronically, so they can apply here in the US, they don't need to return to their home country.
Correct, yeah.
All right, Carlos has his hand up again. Carlos?
I was just curious about students who are able to work during the 3-year work permit period of time after getting their bachelor degree. Can that work permit extend to working in Australia?
Great question. I don't know. I believe the 3-year post-study work visa would be specific to New Zealand. If you ended up getting some sort of residency visa in New Zealand, then you would be eligible to go to Australia, I believe. But again, I'm not an immigration advisor, but my understanding is the post-study work rights would be for New Zealand. And should you get a residency visa through study or a spouse or anything like that, then you would be eligible to move freely between New Zealand and Australia, I believe, but please do your own research on that one.
Thank you.
You don't want to go to Australia, Carlos. Great questions.
That covers all the questions in the Zoom.
You know, and one of the best things I think about New Zealand is that there are no snakes over there, so any folks afraid of snakes, that's the best place to be.
Yeah, true. There's nothing. We take biosecurity extremely seriously. You'll get fined a hefty amount should you bring a banana into New Zealand. So we've kept the dangerous stuff out. Yes.
Would oceanography fall under the Pacific Studies major that I saw on the list earlier?
Oceanography is going to fall under a science track. It's tends to be coupled with marine botany, zoology, things like that. Not an arts major.
Okay, and then what about what would that?
So we don't have fine art at the University of Otago. Fine art, photography, fashion, sculpture, etc., are at Otago Polytechnic, who also welcome transfer students. There's no partnership currently with this college, but we do have some transfer partners in other parts of the US where they could transfer to either our university or Polytechnic, which is separate institutions, but they welcome general transfer students as well.
Just to get some clarity, for students, the transfer partnerships, if I'm correct, is the arts programs, but a student could apply to transfer. They just have to have their credit assessed in a little bit of a more robust way if they wanted to do a science program.
Yeah.
It could take a little longer depending on how those credits transfer.
Yeah, and I think so if there was someone really intent on a Bachelor of Science in Botany, yes, instead of it being called stamp you're in, you've got an Associate of Arts, it would be cool. Let's just see where we've got general credit, where we've got major specific credit, and then they'll present you an offer and say, hey, we're welcoming you into the Bachelor of Science for, say, 2.5 years. And you've got the option to decline that.
And would those students still be eligible for the transfer scholarship? As a partner, but not a partner program?
I believe so. Yeah. But actually, if they're not, there's another scholarship that they would. So either way, there's a $10,000 stipend somewhere. It might just look slightly different.
So then my advice, come talk to the study abroad office if you are thinking about it, but you don't quite fit in that box. It sounds like there's some flexibility to explore.
And it's, our hope that we will be able to progress from the humanities majors into other majors with this institution. Yes.
There's one thing you didn't mention because I'm an outsider. The quality of life that you will experience in New Zealand, you will never ever experience anywhere else, including the Bay Area. No word exists like stress.
Yeah.
Your identity as a student, you will be honored and admired and supported.
Even the way we admit students is very, very different. We just look at your grades.
Amazing.
We'll put you to
amazing-
work after that.
Amazing quality of life. And by the way, there is a lots of farm help. I did stay on a farm in Dunedin for 3 months.
Yeah,
So a lots of farm health, help work in New Zealand.
yeah, great. Thank
If
you.
you're
for sharing.
open, if you're flexible, if you want to learn, there is a lots of opportunities.
Thank you.